Okay, we got 9.5, adding and subtracting rational expressions. All right. The warm up, pretty easy. Stuff you've done before. When you have a common denominator, all you do is if it's addition, you just add the two top numbers. So 2 plus 1 gives us 3 over 5. All right, so the bottom stays the same. You just add the tops. Same way when you're subtracting, you subtract the top. So 4 minus 2 gives us 2, and the bottom stays the same, 2 over 7. So 4 sevenths minus 2 sevenths is 2 sevenths. All right. When you don't have a common denominator, you need to get a common denominator. So 3 and 6, the first number they'll divide into evenly is 6. So we would have to multiply the 3 by 2, and whatever we do to the bottom, we'd have to do to the top. So 2 times 1 gives us 2. 2 times 3 gives us 6. So now we have 2 6 plus 1 6. Again, common denominator. So add the top and then keep the bottom. Now this one reduces. So be careful. Make sure you reduce all your answers. So it reduces to 1/2. All right, 3/4 times 1/2. Again, we have to get a common denominator. 4 and 2 will divide into 4 evenly. So this stays just like it is, 3 over 4. Minus, we got to change this to a 4. So we have to multiply by 2. Whatever we do the bottom, we have to do the top. So we get 2 over 4. So I got 3/4 minus 2/4 gives us 1/4. All right, so that you should have already known. All right, so when we have rational expressions, it's the same thing. If we have a common denominator like this one, they're both 2x. All we're going to do is add the two top numbers. So 3 plus 5 gives us 8. And then keep the bottom, 2x. Now, this one reduces because 8 and 2 are both divisible by 2. So it becomes 4 over x. All right. The next one, we have 3 minus x over, or 3 over x plus 3 minus x over x plus 3. Again, the denominators are the same, so we subtract the tops. Now you can't subtract them, so you just write them down. So 3 minus x over x plus 3. That doesn't reduce. So the only thing you can do is change the top because it's not in the right order. So I would make it negative x plus 3 over x plus 3. And that would be the answer because we can't cancel anything out because this is a negative x. That's a positive x. And they would have to be exactly the same in order to cancel anything out. All right. Next one. We have 6 over x minus 1 minus x plus 6 over x minus 1. So now we have this. They're both over x minus 1. But it turns into this. 6 minus parentheses x plus 6. Now we should know what we have to do here. We have to change this to a plus, make these the opposite. So this becomes a negative, this becomes a positive or a negative. All right. Now, these are like terms, but they're opposites, so they cancel out. So we get our answer of negative x over x minus 1. All right, so with the common denominator, the hard thing about those is making sure you reduce them and stuff like that. All right, so you are going to do these 3 you tries for homework. All right, and then we're going to do example 2. All right, so just like when we're doing fractions, if we don't have a common denominator, that's the first thing we have to do is we have to get a common denominator. So to get the common denominator is you look at the numbers, and it's usually the biggest number or the number they'll both divide into evenly. In this case, it's a 2. And then it's the highest exponent. So we got an x squared. So 2x squared, all right? That 2x squared, that would be our common denominator. So we have to put this over 2x squared plus this over 2x squared. Now, to change 2x into 2x squared, we have to multiply by x. So we have to multiply the bottom by x. So whatever we do at the bottom, we have to do the top. So multiply the top, and that gives us 3x. All right, this one, x squared, we had to multiply it by 2 to get 2x squared. So again, we had to multiply the bottom by 2, so we have to multiply the top by 2. And 2 times 4 gives us 8. Now we have a common denominator, so now we can add these. They're not like terms, so all we're going to do is put 3x plus 8 over 2x squared, and that would be our answer. All right. B, this was a little tougher. We had an x minus 2 and an x plus 2. So we need both of those. We need an x minus 2 and we need an x plus 5. That is our common denominator, both of them. All right, so we have our common denominator. So again, the first side we got to put x minus 2 over x plus 5, and then plus, and then the other side we got to do x minus 2 over x plus 5. All right, so this one we had to multiply by x plus 5 to make it x minus 2 times x plus 5. We already got x minus 2, so we have to multiply the bottom by x plus 5. So we have to multiply the top by x plus 5. All right, and we would distribute that. All right, so it gives us 2x squared plus 10x. All right, when we distribute that in there. All right, now the other side, here, we're going to have to multiply by x minus 2 to get this. So we have to multiply the bottom by x minus 2, so we have to multiply the top by x minus 2. And again, we're going to distribute. So 3 times x gives us 3x. 3 times negative 2 gives negative 6. All right, now all we got to do is combine our like terms. All right, so there's no other 2x squareds, so we'll keep that. We have a positive 10x and a positive 3x, which gives us a positive 13x. And then we have a minus 6 over x minus 2, x plus 5. Right, then we have to see if we can reduce this. So again, let's check to see if we can factor it. 2 times 6 is 12. Do we have the factors of 12 that we subtract? You get a 13, and the answer is no. So that's going to be our answer. We'll just leave it just like this. And that's our answer. All right, I'll do one more. I'll do this one because this one you have to factor it out. So this one we would factor it out, 2 sets of parentheses. X is in the front. Last sign's a minus, so signs are different. And then the factors of 2, when you subtract it, you get all 1 would be 2 times 1, and the bigger number has to go with the negative. So that's 2, and that's 1. All right, and then we factor the other side. This is just the difference of 2 squares, so it's x plus 2, x minus 2. All right, so our common denominator, well, we need an x plus 1. And again, I'm just putting it over here, common denominator. X plus 1, x minus 2. Then we go over to the other one, we need an x plus 2. And this one has x minus 2, but we already have that. All right, it's already there. So this is our common denominator. All right, all 3 of those together. All right, so I'm just going to put it over one of them. So we got x plus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 2. All right, so now this first one, we have to multiply it by an x plus 2. That's what's missing. So we'd have to multiply the bottom by x plus 2. So we have to multiply the top by x plus 2. And that's easy. 1 times x plus 2 just gives us x plus 2. All right, then we got our minus sign. All right, then the other one, we got x plus 2 times x minus 2. That's those two. We need an x plus 1. So we're going to have to multiply this by x plus 1. Multiply this by x plus 1. Again, we'll distribute. So 2 times x gives us 2x. 2 times 1 gives us 2. All right. Now we have to do our little trick because we got a minus sign in between it. So we got to change this minus sign to a plus sign. Make these the opposite. All right. And then combine like terms. So we got a positive x and a negative 2x gives us a negative x. We got a positive 2 and we got a negative 2 and they cancel out. All right, so it's just negative x over x plus 1, x minus 2, and x plus 2. All right. And that is where I'll stop. So you have these 3 U-tries also to do. Okay, so there's 6 U-tries. That's all you're doing for homework tonight.